Hey, we're back. And thank you for hanging out with us while we chat about giant monster collectibles and all of the awesomeness therein. Just to give you guys a heads up, since we finished our news blitz, now we're going to move into a segment about unlucky box days. Following that, we are going to have our monster showcase. And then stick around, of course, because at the very end, we're going to be announcing the winner of the 65th anniversary Bandai Godzilla 54 figure that I picked up in Tokyo in 2019 at the Godzilla Fest. But let's do that later. And let's right now, of course, go into our next segment where we're going to take the 13th episode of Collect All Monsters on the 13th day of 2021's 13th month in the 13th season of the 13th show dedicated to 13 kaiju. Just kidding. We didn't really have anything better than just like, hey, unlucky 13. Let's talk about some bad box days. And so I don't have anything better to kick that off with. You know, every once in a while, you get a package and you are not as excited as you were when you thought when you had it in your hands. You're like, you open it and for some reason, it's not what you expected. Now, if people have been fans for a while, following any of the YouTube collectors that are out there, I think one of the most memorable unlucky box days, which a lot of people kind of had similar issues or similar experiences with, was Rich Iso from Fresh Vinyl Live. He basically opened up his 1968 King Ghidorah figure, his X Plus, live, right? Did an unboxing, not live like broadcast live, but recorded his expression live when he took it out, and there were parts of it that were broken during shipping, which consisted of an unlucky box day.
You ain't lying.
Yeah. Wait, actually, out of curiosity, how many of us have the King Ghidorah figure, the 68 King Ghidorah? How many of us had problems with it when it showed up?
Not many.
Unfortunately.
I had a very, very, very small problem. I think like one of the horns came off. But man, people who are unaware of this, there have been terrible, terrible, terrible experiences out there. People who open their X Plus figures or whatever figure and find that due to the shipping or the conditions in shipping, pieces have literally like just almost ripped off of off the figure. With X Plus stuff, I think it's actually kind of a good thing that they are usually fairly fixable. They are basically like fancy model kits, and you could potentially put them back together with super glue, and none would be the wiser necessarily. But yeah, like I don't know what are some of the box day horror stories that you guys could share, if you even have any. Christine, what about you? Do you have anything you'd love to just blast? Maybe put DHL on blast or Ami Ami or somebody.
Oh, yeah, I have had some questionable boxes arrive that were damaged. Luckily, the figure inside wasn't. But I remember the very first unlucky box I had was way back when the Yuji Sakai SH Monster Godzilla came out. So when mine came in, I had been really excited for this particular figure, and this middle spine right here was completely snapped off the figure. So I don't know how, because it's all in that like plastic, and then it's inside a box. So it was just this one that was randomly boxed in, and that had broken off, and I got it through Amazon. So luckily, I was able to send it back, and they sent me a new one, which is this one that was in perfect condition. But I was pretty sad when that came out. Because I was so excited to get it, and then I was like, no, it's scary when you get a figure in the mail and then it's broken. And then the same with the SH Monster, it's King Ghidorah. This was the original release. Now, when this one came out, I don't really fool around with the wings too much, because I know people say that they're very sensitive and they can fall off. But when I first got this one and opened the box, all three of the necks here were just not even attached to the body. Well, lucky for these, let me see. Oh, there
Careful.
you go.
Don't do
They're
it.
just
Don't
on,
do
they're
it
don't
live
go.
on TV.
Ooh, it's painful.
they're on ball joints, so you can just snap it back.
I
But
know
well,
that
at the
stuff is
time,
so sensitive.
like at the time, I didn't know that, and then it came in, and like none of the heads, like the heads had all fallen off because these are pretty delicate, and so I was like, oh my god! But yeah, you can just see there he is, snap him back in there. He's good to go. And then, and then I don't know if you guys remember. So this is the G Fest exclusive Rose Violante that was 2018, I think. So when we first got these, the bottom was actually backwards. So this
Oh,
was in the back.
Oh.
Which actually I didn't notice it at first. It took me a while, and then this had been unglued and it was snapped off in the box. But I was a little, I was so excited to get this one. I was like, oh, it's backwards, and my niece had gotten one as well. And hers was the
Wow.
same thing. There was a piece that had snapped off and it was backwards, but it was easy fix. You know, just heat it up and you're able to either take this part that snaps off. I just spun it around, and then let me grab them off the shelf here. But when I got my X Plus Titanosaurus, I could.
What could be wrong with Titanosaurus? Oh, man.
His ear This ear was off.
Oh,
And
really?
one of his little antennas was not glued on, I guess, but that was easy. I think no, I'm not gonna do it. But I think you could pull it out and snap it back in, and then this I just glued back in. But as far as X Plus goes, I've had pretty good luck. That was the only thing that came. My Titanosaurus was the only guy that came in that had something missing off of him. But actually, otherwise, yeah, I've been pretty good with my box days. Luckily, I haven't had anything serious happen, like actual legit broken parts or damaged pieces. Besides my SH Monstars Godzilla 2000. But 13 is actually my lucky number, so I can't really say that this is an unlucky episode for you because go 13. So who's next? John?
My next. Well, up until the COVID year of 2020, I had no issues with box days. And, being on Facebook and seeing the bad box days that were happening, and I would get nervous about, because I always would get, some X Plus product or something later than everyone else did. So I would be a little nervous about what was coming in the box. But I never had any issues until this year. And I haven't thought about it because DHL has been coming to the rescue. It's like, if you need a good box day, DHL is what you want, especially if you start in the house. So I forgot about the two X Plus Defo figures that I have sitting somewhere on Tokyo Bay, I guess. It's been since, I think it was October of 2019. They've been, there they go, to Oregon and the Godzilla 1999. I'm still waiting. So that's the bad. That's the my bad box day. And think of it. And probably recently when I got the sticker shop for the shipping from Hobby Search Japan for the Rodan.
Oh yeah.
It was a little more than a figure, and I was like, oh my gosh. So that's probably the most negative. Yeah, I was like buying two of them. So yeah. Leslie, how about you? I think you're next in succession.
Shipping's
knock
not
on
fun.
wood,
But...
haven't had any major issues over the years, except for two. And of course, I mentioned this before, but my 2019 that came out last year,
Right.
It didn't work. Now I did get it to work.
That's right.
Recently, but I was taking some pictures of it recently, and I tried to change battery packs, and now it doesn't work anymore. So
no,
which is unfortunate, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, a lot of people have had an issue with this. I'm not the only one that's had an issue with the light up not working, but I mean, maybe if I have time, I'll try to use something else. I'm not willing to give up on it. I'm not gonna get a replacement, but that is probably a bad box day. Nothing against Awesome Collector, because that's where I got it from. It has nothing to do with them. It's just sometimes
Right.
you get a bad dud here and there. That's just the name of the game sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. And actually, I want to talk about a little bit what Kyle said about the King Ghidorah. And I remember that like it was yesterday, because that was horrible. That was horrible.
It was.
That was when I was getting my feet wet into S Plus collecting, and then when I made a pre-order for it and I saw that was shipping out, and there were lots of reports coming in that there were actually, ladies and gentlemen, in case you don't know, King Ghidorah, yes, the delicate King Ghidorah, that guy up there, well, with a golden one, they actually sent that fragile figure in box
that's right.
like this, and they sent it without a protective box covering it. So they sent it like this. They put like shipping packets and labels over here on top of the box, and that's the reason why a lot of us, a lot of collectors, got their King Ghidorahs broken. Like I mean, and of course, it's going to the postal service, and they're not exactly kind when it comes to boxes. And I've seen so many horror stories at the time. Like I remember one dude said he had blood on his daggone box. I seen boxes. Yes, he had blood on his box. The boxes had punctures, had holes, had but knock on wood, like I mentioned earlier just now, I didn't have an issue with mine. So my King Ghidorah was able to make it from Japan in this fashion without any issues. Unfortunately, there are a lot of my fellow collectors that couldn't say the same, but those two probably the only thing that qualify as like bad box days. But by and large, I've had a good record, and hopefully the trend will keep going. Hopefully, by me talking about this King Ghidorah story, hopefully I won't have any issues with the big one I'm getting in a couple months, but time will tell. You'll find out, trust me. You'll find out. How about you, David?
So, yeah, I mean, I've been in the game for a long time, as you guys know, and I've been pretty lucky for the most part with bad box days. But the King Ghidorah thing was definitely traumatic because I had seen so many people get damaged, like really bad damage, not just like a piece snapped off where the joint is, like cracks and like breaks and chips. You know, that's really hard to fix. Over the years, I've been, lucky to have mine basically come unscathed, like maybe a couple of paint rubs. I have in the past done a lot of repairs for people who have received their stuff broken. But my first one, Kyle, I think you have a slide of it, an image of it, was the 25 centimeter King Caesar, which I think was first released in 2011. Now, it didn't look like that when I got it. The jaw was completely moved to the side.
Wow.
And it wasn't just, it was glued that way. So basically, one on one side, one was on the other. Kyle, you probably may remember 2011, we weren't like in touch all that much, but I was in the X Plus group for sure.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
This is back when I hadn't been doing it for a while, so I was a little bit timid with cutting and resculpting and that kind of thing. So what I had to do is go in there with an X-Acto knife and cut out the whole bottom jaw.
Ooh,
and cut off the piece where it didn't fit right and rebuild it with epoxy. Okay?
You're braver than me.
Really, it doesn't look like it did anything to it, which is good. And then once it's dry, you just match the paint and you just go on. But since that happened, I've been really confident about doing that for myself and other people. So I've helped a lot of people fix their kits over the years, and I'm pretty happy about that. Some people call me the plastic surgeon, but yeah, I got paid like a plastic surgeon, but so the King Ghidorah thing, though, that was really traumatic. I got mine not in the beginning, not in the end, but in the middle. And I remember all of the stories, and mine was due to come. Keith actually left the house. I think I mentioned this in a different episode because he knew I would be really upset if it was broken. But I had paint brushes, sculpting tools, epoxy clay, all different kinds of paint, gold, silver, black, red, anything you need to fix that King Ghidorah. And I opened it up. There was not a damn thing wrong with it.
Woohoo!
That was super lucky for me. But yeah, no, I've been pretty lucky over the years. Like I said, paint rubs, maybe like, the jaw was a little bit warped in shipping, and that's just really easy to fix with a hairdryer. Shipping stuff, like actually like getting the pieces has been a challenge of late because of the COVID thing. I'm still waiting for my gigantic Mechagodzilla. That I call that's a pretty bad. That's a non-box day, I guess. It took months and months and months for my Sakai 84 to arrive. But overall, of all the years that I've been collecting, I've been pretty lucky with things coming unscathed. So yeah, that's about it for me. How about you, Kyle?
Well, David, I feel pretty lucky, just in general. Like you guys have said, I've had many, many, many box days. I've had hundreds of box days in my collecting journey. And, the one place that I recommend people all the time check out in, which I think I used to not actually, I used to be kind of gatekeepy about it, but Mandarake is a secondhand shop in Japan. They have many, many, many branches all throughout the country. And the thing about Mandarake is they are technically, you are always buying used items.
That's true.
I'm sure somebody could be like, no, I bought new stuff. I'm sure you bought stuff that is like pretty much new from Mandarake because people take very good care of their stuff in Japan. But technically speaking, if you find something on Mandarake, it's because someone sold it to Mandarake, not because they bought it from Bondi, X Plus, Marmot, M1, etc. So speaking of Marmot, I am not only a kaiju fan, but I really like the Super Robot series from Go Nagai. He did Mazinger Z, UFO Grandizer, Guy King, for example. And Marmot actually made these gigantic figures. I'm going to guess around 2000 or something like that. They put out a whole bunch of these. All of the classic super robots in two different colorways, a regular colorway at least, and then this sort of like black and gold colorway, which is magnifique as far as I'm concerned. This is a figure that costs probably about $60 to $80 when it came out. And I know that it came out like around the year 2000, and I ended up picking this up because I sold one that I bought. I picked it up somewhat recently, maybe 5 years ago, something like that. And it was still $60 at Mandarake. And I was like, whoa, that is an incredible deal. I got to have that. So I purchased it and it showed up. And whenever you look at something on Mandarake, they sort of they try to tell you the condition of the item, but it's not always very discernible as to what the condition of that specific item is. And so for me, when I cracked open my beautiful Guy King figure, I was like, whoa, he's stuck on something back here, and his butt got stuck to some styrofoam. There was a styrofoam block on the very back of the box, on the inside of the box, that he rested up against, right? Styrofoam. Who knew? But it must have gotten super hot in wherever it was being stored, because the styrofoam literally melted onto Guy King's butt plate. Yeah. So, but as upsetting as that was to open and be like, oh, this figure's gross. It's really not that gross because nobody ever sees him. I don't display him ass out, So there he is. Regardless of the fact that he might have been like a bad box day, he's still majestically beautiful, and I love him in my collection. I have another shipping wise. I did have another bad box day, but the good news is that even though the shipping incident scared me in terms of what would have happened to the box or to the figure, I have a 30 centimeter, a couple of figures from Liberty Planet. Have anybody heard of that company? Liberty Planet. They made some Ultra KAIJU in like a box series. I could grab one, but it doesn't matter. I got two different ones. I got Sebos and I got Jamila. Yeah. But when one of those boxes, I think it was Jamila, showed up, there was like a giant gouge out of the side of it. And it was just really lucky. It is absolutely something that happened during shipping, but I feel really lucky that nothing inside was messed up at all. But yeah, like those kinds of things, seeing a giant, the box shows up and there's like a tear in it. Like, who did this to my item? You know, you never want to see that stuff. It's never good. But thankfully, I feel pretty lucky that, especially out of all the Mandarake purchases that I've made, that's been the only negative experience. I believe Lolo, our friend and moderator on Collectible Monsters, Monster Collectors, Lolo said that she got a soft vinyl figure, like a Sophie style figure, and it just absolutely reeked of cigarette smoke one time. I don't know where that came from, but that's a horror story right there, right? If I open the box and it just absolutely reeked of cigarette smoke, no.
There's been some that I've gotten that are sticky and they'll have like dust and hair, and I don't like that. I give my figures a bath like once or twice a year, kind of like dust, and especially when it has that sticky feeling to it. And a lot of times just because it's just the vinyl. If it's an older figure, over time it wears down and all that, but. Nope, I don't like it.
Lolo heard me talking about it.
I've heard of a few collectors who have bought some M1 pieces, like some vintage M1 pieces. You know how they have the little rubber band with the tag on there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The rubber band will disintegrate into the plastic.
Into the plastic. Damage the plastic?
Yeah. It doesn't like eat in it, but it sort of like discolors it, and there's like a film on it.
Oh, interesting.
That's not
good. Because I know the Nakajimas have the tag around the wrist.
Rubber band,
So any collectors who have that kind of a figure, please take them off, and just to be on the safe side. You don't have to throw it away. Just keep it next to the figure in a little bit.
I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'll do it later, but I think mine is still attached to the hand. Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably remove that. Now, I'm hoping that because we're saying all these things and we've all been pretty lucky that this didn't jinx our track record. Our next one will be a disaster. Now it's like, no, please. No. But just gonna put this out there. If people do get a model kit or an X Plus figure specifically, and it's broken, not terribly broken, or it's scratched up, or there's a piece that's like off, feel free to contact me. I can totally fix it for you. And of course, there'll be a slight fee. It'll be really, it depends on what it is, but I can do it for almost nothing. It's just basically the shipping to me and back. If it's a small thing to do, if it's like a paint chip or a paint smudge, I'm so happy to do that for you guys, as long as you're not in a hurry. And just putting that out there. So don't panic. I can help you. I can fix it.
My man.
Awesome.
All right. So I believe that concludes the unlucky box days. I did see a couple of people talking about some of the badness that they've experienced. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it right off while I'm talking, but basically, oh yeah, who'd you get?
It's from Enzyme 2000. He has a question for the panel. He wants to know why do they ship?
I saw that.
Yeah, why do they ship X Plus figures or Gigantics in boxes that advertise what is in the box? It's just asking to get shipments. It is just asking to get shipments stolen, and then I had that happen to me, unfortunately.
No.
That's too bad.
They got stolen.
So I would actually answer that question by saying, I don't think X Plus puts that stuff on the outside for the purpose of identifying it during shipping. That's just the stuff that they have all that stuff boxed up in their warehouse anyway. They used to not have any English on it at all, but since they became a way more global company and started selling stuff directly to the States, they have started putting English on the boxes. I don't know what it would take to get them to rethink that decision. But I can understand that's a shame, and especially maybe we should bring that up to G just to let them know, like, hey, you are so popular in this country that porch pirates will steal your stuff if they see it say X Plus.
That's a really good point, and I'm going to quickly look at my Rodan box to see if it says it. Hold on one second.
They actually do that. They actually do that. They have the title of the figure on the outer box, like Toho, Rodan.
Right.
It's on there. It says Toho large series 30-centimeter Rodin. So yeah, I don't like that either. That's good.
Yeah, and unfortunately we live in a society where people steal stuff all the time.
Yes.
So that sucks. I'm really sorry that happened, but in Japan,
awful.
that is not as big of a problem for them.
That's true.
But yes, I completely understand what you're saying, man. That blows. The person I was thinking of, I think, was Eric, who mentioned that he got one of a Prime 1 Gamera, and some of the appendages had been smashed during
What?
shipping.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
Oh man.
Yeah, but that King Ghidorah box, that was you can see the graphic of what's in there, right?
Right.
And you may get some jerk at the post office who's jealous and just starts kicking it around too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, oh, they think they're going to pay this much for a toy, and they throw it down the thing. It's better off just not having anything on the box. That's a really good point, and I didn't even realize that the outer shipping box.
Yeah.
I'm excited to open it. I don't even look.
Yeah, I'm a truck driver. And I've been to these postal facilities, and you have no idea on how they treat these boxes. I mean, I'm not trying to say anything bad about every postal worker, but I have seen some people take these boxes that could be the boxes that you and I are really anticipating and just treat them like basically like soccer balls, and just it's not good. I mean, because especially like this past Christmas season, where they were hit with so many packages, more so than ever before because of the pandemic and people buying stuff more so online nowadays. And it's like they want to just get the stuff out of there, so by any means necessary. So if that means they have to throw it, crush it, or whatever, it's really not their problem. That's how they're looking at it, but that's just the way it is, unfortunately.
So real quick, when I first started doing this, like buying and selling on eBay, I had a Pilot Ace Hedorah figure. Okay, it was the blue one, and I sold a bunch of my pieces because it was one of those times where I overextended myself and I had way too much coming and I didn't have the funds. Whatever. I sent it UPS. Okay, and when the guy received it, I insured it. Thank goodness. When the guy received it, now this is a soft vinyl figure, packed really well in bubble wrap. It was broken, cracked, and like the whole half of the body was cracked in half. The arm was off. They must have kicked it down 10 flights of stairs.
Wow.
For soft vinyl kit to do that,
right? A lot of abuse.
There must have been some kind of really traumatic experience somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
And it was summer. It wasn't that it got cold. I can even see maybe the vinyl gets really cold and brittle, maybe, but it was the summer, and I was really bummed. And it took me a lot of paperwork and red tape to get my money back, but I finally did because I refunded the guy immediately. The only other thing I can think of, which would definitely suck, is if the guy got it and didn't like it, and then he broke it and said it was broken. Which I hate.
That happens too, though.
But that has happened to people in the past. I've heard horror stories about that. There's no way this could have broken in the way that it did. And they got it. They got buyer's remorse, or they didn't have the money after all, and said, "Oh, this came broken." And that's not the case. The way I pack things really ridiculously. And to this day, I will not ship a finished resin kit anywhere, just because of that reason. Steve Sarajoli is the only one that I know that is willing to do that. But just be careful. I don't know. It just sucked. I have not sent one thing from UPS since that time.
Don't blame me.
So that's someone else's bad box day, not mine, but it kind of was my problem. So I guess that could go with my story too.
Right on. Well, let's all hope and pray that there will be no more bad box days for anyone ever. No more bad box days. Anyway, I think this is the perfect time for us to close out that segment and move along to our monster showcase.